Oh, switch it.
We swap.
Oh. Oh,
Then
sorry.
Allah.
Is it supposed to be on now? Oh.
Here, we invite the Holy Spirit to come and lead this session. We pray, Lord, that you gather whoever is supposed to be watching, who is supposed to benefit from this, to come, log in, and be available. We ask you, Holy Spirit, to have them ask the questions that need to be asked and let them be inspired and impacted with our deliberations. In Jesus' mighty name I've prayed.
Amen.
And that is how I became a pastor.
Oh, this is going to be nice.
Oh, you're a worship harvest.
So tell me, ladies, is this how the
worship
sitting
harvest.
arrangement is?
Hello and good morning. My name is Carol Kagezi and welcome to the first Women Design Conference 2021. And of course, this event is organized in partnership with Motive, and that is Artfield Institute of Design in partnership with Motive. I'm quite privileged to be taking on this stage, not just by myself, but with a couple of ladies alongside me. We shall get into introductions in just a little while. In the meantime, did you know that the history, present, and future of design has been written by both men and women, but there has been rather little mention of what role women play at this table? Can we all agree that this is the truth, right? So, just in terms of highlighting some of the contributions, but also the difficulties, what some of the challenges have been, and then getting into what some of the opportunities are for women, especially within the field of design, is what we will be looking at and diving into this morning. So I'm joined by, to my right, yes, Lynn Bahati, who is a creative entrepreneur and she is the face and voice behind House of Ndinda, which is an interior design consultation and furniture business. Now, Lynn is a self-taught, innovative, ferocious reader, and also one person who has the most multiple passions I've ever seen in my entire life. Lynn, welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
Right next to Lynn is Patricia Cahill. Now, Patricia Cahill is a content marketing, digital marketing content strategist, right?
Yeah.
Is that it? And she helps brands create meaningful engagements using content online, especially. We're quite privileged to have you on the stage this morning, Patricia. Right next to Patricia is Miss Hilda Kazibwe. Now, Miss Hilda is a graphics designer, interior and exterior designer who teaches design-related skills, but also, most importantly, she's a woman after God's own heart. You are most welcome to the stage, Miss Hilda. And last but absolutely not least is Miss Charity Winnie Kamosime, who comes to the stage as a marketeer, a member and ambassador of the Chartered Institute of Marketing UK and Uganda. Now, she has experience in advertising, telecommunications, and financial sectors with a keen interest in digital marketing and strategy. She has worked for brands like Airtel, MTN, Scan Group, Mad Advertising, and now at EcoBank Transnational Incorporated. She consults with the Uganda Management Institute as well. Welcome to this stage.
Thank you.
Well, without further ado, we'll get right into it. One of the things that I would like to hear from each and every one of you is what inspires what it is that you do. Let's start with you, Lynn.
What inspires what I do? Quite a couple of things, actually. But I'll start with one. First of all, my passion. Even just the identity that I am is, having figured out that I loved interior. And as a female, interior designer in a male-dominated world, you get like a natural push to sort of make your mark on the on the market, in the world. So that has pushed me, but also knowing that out there there's a girl like me, there's a woman like me that needs to start, gives me the edge to do what I do. So plus God, definitely. So
We'll jump over to you, Charity. Not to even, Patricia, you look quite
Correct.
keen. Sorry, but we'll skip over to Charity and then we'll come back.
All right. I believe in each one of us has a star that shines, and in this shine, there is a creator that has given us that star. So what drives us, or what drives me, is seeing that star arise in each and every one. And I go by the theme stardom with your A game, because you all can. So we're all a brand representing the creator. So in your creation, there is a specific design that God has given you. So all of us here are stars. And everyone out there is a brand that you have been called to rise, and that rise is the star in that brand, both personal and organizational level.
Thank you, Charity.
My pleasure.
Patricia, over to you.
Oh my dear. What inspires me? I'm a curious person, and I think that God gave me that curiosity. So most of the things that you've seen my name on, or the things that I've done, have come out of just being curious. That, okay, if I touch that, can I change it to that? If I get that, can I shift it to that? What would be the impact, really? So my inspiration comes from, if God could see the earth and it's empty and void and say, let there be, don't I have the same power to just say, okay, let there be? So that is my curious line, yeah.
And of course, last but not least, Hilda.
Thank you. What inspires me is the Word of God. Yeah, because I have learned that once I got to be introduced to the Word of God, I got to understand my identity. So that gave me ground, because if God, my Father, is a creator, that means I can do anything. So that is what inspires me.
Thank you so much, ladies. Now, my next question, because all your answers actually make reference to design. You speak of this void thing that, the creator made, design, right? Lynn, you speak of coming to yourself, Design.
Yeah.
Charity, you speak of stardom and brands having meaning. Design. So what does design mean to each and every single one of you? And Hilda, we'll start with you.
Oh, design to me it is something that is supposed to change the world. Something that is supposed to change someone's life. Yeah, so at the end of every creation that someone makes, at the end of your craft, there must be something that changes the world. Yeah, there must be something that goes beyond your household. Okay? For example, if you're designing outfits or garments, yeah, you must look beyond your nation because it's very important. Because when God put that ability in you of creating, it is important that it goes beyond you as a person. Yeah, I remember back then when I was still studying fashion design, everything I would create would be for myself. I wouldn't care what anybody else thought or how it affects another person. Yeah, until I got to understand that design, creation is supposed to impact another person's life. Yes.
That's so beautiful. Design impacts other people's lives. Sounds a lot like a solution, right? Anyway, what does design mean to you, Lynn?
Design for me is anything that can be woven, yeah, to impact, like she already said, but also, apart from impacting, does it allow for you to identify yourself? Because much more about design is it starts with me. So if it starts with me, can it move to someone else, but in the process create, something within me, start something within me, because, it starts with you again. So I think something woven that creates an impact out there, and end result is to make someone smile for me. I need to make someone's face look nice.
Yeah.
Like seeing people smile.
So I like how your two answers are related. And to you, Charity, just really using those answers as a sort of stepping stone. You speak of brands, and I think from what I'm hearing, what their meaning of design is, it's responding to a need for someone. So how does that influence the work that you do? Because you deal a lot with brands, you deal a lot with different stakeholders, and really just understanding the nuances of the process of serving someone else. So what does that mean to you?
Okay. So for me, it's understanding the desires, the needs of the various stakeholders. So like they said, what are you weaving for? For whom? So for me, design is expression of one's inner self and identifying them as their unique identity. So each one of us wants to look a certain way, wants to be perceived a certain way. So for me, it's understanding who your stakeholder is. Primarily, it's the person who's going to partake of that design, but also the person who's going to help you put that design together. So if it's going to be copyright, if it's going to be a graphic something, if it's going to be a video, whatever it is, it has to have a certain art to it that the person creating it feels like, oh wow, my creation is a marvel. And the person to whom it's being delivered is like, you guys just understood who I wanted to be, and this is exactly what you've given to me. So for me, it's ability to get everyone doing the thing that's going to address that need in the best way possible, so that the person who is partaking of it feels like their need has been addressed. And the person who's giving it feels like, oh wow, I gave my perfection.
Honestly, this is tweetable content. Now, if you're following this conversation on Twitter, be sure to use the hashtag WIDesign, but also, if you are watching from Zoom, if you are watching from YouTube, if you are watching from Facebook as well, feel free to share any questions, comments that you might have within the comment section. Now, we're gonna get into what the journey has been. And Patricia, of course I was going to ask you what design means to you. Don't feel left out, but I really want for you to take us through what it looked like in order for you to self-style as a content strategist and a content, as this person who is helping brands tell their stories online. Because we are currently living in a society that, let's be honest, does not rate highly the kind of work that we do. So even that means that in the marketplace, you have to really bargain in order for, people to see that you're meeting an actual need. So how have you designed yourself? Do you see it? How have you designed yourself in the marketplace?
How do you design yourself in the marketplace? So I began with changing my name. Yeah. This is the first time I'm coming out on live. Yeah, Charity, I can see you laughing. Yeah. It's the first time I've come out online and really mentioned that I changed my name. And the reason why I changed my name is the old name I had was not going to take me where I wanted to go. I looked at the name, I looked at the things I wanted to do, and I'm like, no one will stand up for this name. No one will be ready, or no one will be anxious or anticipate something coming out of me. If that is the name they're going to first read, they won't have the need. But then, also because the industry I was getting into, then you guys have come in a season where digital marketing is now everywhere. A senior for child can actually come on Twitter and tweet and abuse someone who has been online for like years, and they can post whatever they want. Those days, we were a niche. Like, you really had to have an idea, something you're bringing to that table. You get on Twitter and you're like, oh my God, these are all elites. These are people that I can, no. Let me go back to my Facebook. That was the situation. So to get in there, you had to have something that you're bringing on a desk, on a table. So I went in and said, nah, I need to find a good name, a family name, my father's name. And my dad said, okay, you can have my name. So since then, I am sure everyone who has had Cahill either related me to a white chick, a black woman, American black woman, and I had to actually defend that to extremes because the name means something. Yeah. So the reason why I'm speaking about my name is the name is a brand. Your name speaks volumes for you. It takes you places that you would never think of going. So how did I start in the design? My design started with being curious about my former name and the new name that I wanted and where I positioned it to go. That was my standing ground.
To be honest, I like that story. I also like that I'm hearing it for the first time. Thank you for coming out for the first time to share that with us. But, just really, again, using your story as a stepping stone, I think I would like to hear from you, Hilda, regarding branding. You're a fashion designer, and you've also clearly stated that you are multi-passioned, multi-talented designer as well. So how do you make sense, right, of all of that and come forward and say, oh, I'm a fashion designer, I'm a what? When people say that that's too much, I mean just like in the sense of branding, self-branding.
I think one thing that really stood out for me as a person first is the fact that from childhood, I like to do so many different things. And then growing up and coming to university, yeah? Even before university, in secondary school, I always wanted to be involved in everything, yeah? So that almost kind of gave me a certain kind of place in society, in whatever small place I was in. So when I joined university, even before I joined university, at first I wanted to be a lawyer. Oh God. So I wanted to be a lawyer, but along the way, I think because of how families or how your parents have certain desires for you. But then I realized that that was not my place. So I started doing so many different things because I was very creative with my hands. Yes. So knowing that I can do so much, yeah, I got to understand there must be a value added to what I have to do or whatever I am doing. Yes, like how we see money. Money is an idea, but once you add value to it, it creates a brand. Yeah, it creates something bigger. Yeah, so therein there is a promise you're giving to the audience or to your target audience. Yeah, so that is how I started adding value to whatever I can do. Yeah, and that started teaching me what branding means. And that is why it's very important that whatever you're doing out there, there's a place where you must add value. You find there's someone who, like, you have so many different shops, they're selling the same thing. But then there's a reason why one shop is selling better than the other. Yeah? Because there's a certain value that is added. Yeah.
That's an unique value at that, right? There's a unique value that's added to it.
Yeah.
Let's go over to you, Charity, because I'm pretty sure you are burning to add to this. Because just from the conversation we had before we came on air, Charity, you expressed that one of the things that's most important to you is that brands have audiences and specific audiences that they're speaking to in order for them to, you know, be able to, one, make sales, but also two, just grow in the industry and not have stagnation for long periods of time, because stagnation is a part of business. So Charity, basing off of what Hilda has shared, one of the things that stood out to me was her being multi-passionate, her having so many things that she could do. And that could be said for so many businesses that are currently operating in our environment today. What advice do you have for businesses like those? They say for us, we do anything. And if you want printing, we got you. You want to design, we got you. You're serving everyone. So what advice do you have for businesses like those?
Okay, thank you, Carol. So diversification is an important element for business growth, especially if you want to tap into new market opportunities. However, it can be very dangerous if you come up with the notion of I am a mass market product. Every product has a specific purpose, targeting a specific need. So it is important that even in your multi-passion executions, you're very clear, this thing that you're creating or this thing that you want to deliver, who is it meant for? But most importantly, what is it that you want to address? It's different to be passionate about things and wanting to diversify, but there is creating and boom, it's going nowhere. So I like that Hilda said something about shops and providing everything the same. So the solution or the need that there was is how to create a uniqueness from those other shops. Stand out. What is your unique selling proposition? What's that one thing that if Cahill came up and said, I offer content, Charity offers content too, but guess what? She's creative, so her unique selling proposition is in the creativity of the content. Carol's unique selling proposition is the uniqueness of what is on the line. So she's interior design. I mean, we have so many interior designers in the city, but if she touches your work, there is something that just happens, and that's the thing that you want to look out for. So in all your passions, identify the thing that the customer is looking out for and drive at that. And when you create it, deliver it to that particular customer. We have seen brands that say, well, I am going to target everyone. We all can buy airtime, right? But I may be a 20K airtime taker. Cahill is just for 10 MBs. So your communication targeting me of 20 cannot be the same. The promotion that you're giving to Charity, buy 20 and get 20 extra. I mean, Cahill wants 100 extra to keep the conversation going. All I want is direct calls to close my sale. So the communication will differ. The way I like to dress is different from how everyone likes to dress, yeah? So how you package that communication to me of the 20K has to be different. Dreads, knit, we are different personalities. So in the creation, in the delivery, in your passions, has to be very specific in addressing a particular need. And the style in which you deliver it has to be unique to that customer. So we need to kind of address the mass kind of customer target. Even when the product is mass market, there is particular elements of that product that are addressing a particular segment. And I like to say that in marketing, you should be able to identify your audience to the dot. If I'm in Kampala, I'm in Kampala. So don't send me communication, ginger-oriented, unless you're taking me for vacation. If I am, I'm living under $1, I mean, I can't buy bread for breakfast, And then you're coming and telling me, well, I am selling cake lady, soupy food. Like, who's going to buy it? So it's important to understand our customer to the dot, affordability, how they express themselves, and through that you're able to address your creative ideas and the creation that you want to put on the table to be taken. And if you create that unique identifier, it means that the customer will actually come looking for you as opposed to you going to look for them. So it gives you a niche over not spending a lot of money in advertising.
I like that, and I want to now direct a question to Lynn because it's getting me thinking. But before I ask Lynn the question, just remind you, if you're watching this from Zoom, you can definitely share in your questions or comments to any one of the panelists here. To remind you, Lynn to my immediate right, Patricia right next to Lynn, Hilda right next to Patricia, and Charity to the other side of the, of the stage. You can send in your questions, and if you're watching this from Zoom, you can definitely put your questions in on the chat box. But also, if you're watching on Facebook, you can feel free to go wild in the comment section, and we'll definitely be able to answer any questions that you might have for us this morning. Just reminding you, my name is Carol Kagezi, and we're having this from Motive. Now, Lynn, the question to you is, while Charity was speaking, I was thinking about the work that you do at House of Ndinda, and really how, for me, as a person watching on the other side, it seems to me like you have this thing figured out, like you know who exactly you're talking to. I want to know from you, what was that journey like? Getting to identifying your consumer, learning how to speak to them in a way that then brings them to you, right? Also because from conversation that we've had, and a lot of like the writing out there about you and the work that you've done on the internet, you have done work and continue to do work for one of the biggest coffee shops in Uganda, yeah, we could say.
Yeah.
So I really don't want to name names. I don't want to name names. It's Lynn's work. So Lynn, take us through your process of how you got to identifying your consumer up until how you continue to innovate and iterate for your consumer so you can remain relevant.
Okay, so first of all, it wasn't easy. That is not to scare you, actually. That is to encourage you to actually push boundaries. The one thing that I think has kept me going, you do not wake up and say, now I am going to ace this thing. It should be something you say to yourself to prep you, to step out, but it shouldn't be something then you make a goal, because what's going to happen is you could try, but you're going to get a burnout eventually. So what I did is I said, okay, so I'm going to start a business. First of all, it wasn't even going to be a business. I used to blog about normal stuff, and then, like Hilda, I'm multi-passionated, so I started to make candle holders out of wood. So as you can see, it wasn't something I already had a vision of, or it's something I can see clearly, right? But then I said, okay, I'll make the candles. And then after making the candles, they looked pretty. I thought, even me, I'm thinking this thing might work eventually. If I put it out there, someone else is bound to buy. So and I remember I put it on my Instagram stories and said, hi guys, I made these things. Put a process. You need to take people with you on the journey. If you're going to have to impact someone out there, or even just sell an idea, we are people, you don't want to feel like you're speaking to someone from the States, for example, in Uganda, because then that detaches the two of you. Your consumer and yourself do not have a relationship. But if I take you through the process, and I'm actually showing you that I use a knife, because I used a knife. To peel this thing, I use a knife. Then you're going to feel like, oh, this is something within reach, right? So then you start to create a relationship with me, even when you've not met me, which is what I did. So over the time, I used my Instagram to do behind the scenes and then grew it over time. I'm a creative, so I hate numbers. I can't do numbers. I can't do sit down, look pretty. I can't, which you will need when you start to sell, yeah? You do not just walk in and start to do it. Yes, you have to sort of match the other person. So why I say progression and perfection is I learned on job, and you keep learning on the job. Mostly the best lessons are learned and perfected on the job. It's easy to read something, but the practicality of it lives at depth within you, which is what I did. And you know, like I said, I kept creating until Indiro. The restaurant she was mentioning, the cafe she was talking about is Indiro. I thank them every other day because I'm like, look where we are today. And when I got to Indiro, I did not know everything, but you have a presumption or something, you have an idea of what they are, firstly, before you sell something. Like the lady said before me, is when you look at your client, what's their first impression? Like, what do you get from them? So when I looked at Indiro, I studied their style. It wasn't your conventional coffee shop style. So I thought, okay, what is it that I can add to them that is not going to be the same thing people have done while maintaining their identity? Because it's important that you're not also taking their brand off. Because this is a 10-year coffee shop. If you do any slight work that is off, then you're killing someone's brand, which they've worked tirelessly for. So what I did is, after studying the style, then I asked the lady who I was in contact with and said, okay, I would like to know what you envision this to be, or what your idea of comfort style spaces is. So I have done that for my clients over and over again. When I meet you, I sort of first pick your energy. I'm like, okay, she looks like she's, you know, the kind that likes this, the kind that, then I go further on and ask you, you know, pick your mind, and then from that, you'll not know exactly, but you'll have a picture of, which is why then we give options. When I'm doing interior design, I'm going to give you like option A, option B. Then from there, you take it on. So it's not something you know immediately, but I would encourage that you keep learning, keep getting inspired, and engage your people. That's as much as I say. So that's how I got to do Indiro and continue to work.
I love that you talk about engaging people, because I was literally just going straight to Patricia. Patricia, I've been seeing you, eyeing me. But Patricia, she's been talking about relating with the audience and engaging with the audience. And one of the things that I think for business owners to constantly keep in mind is that it's a relationship. Yes. You and your consumer, it's a relationship. And that's the part where you come in, right? We're talking about content, designing content, building content, but also talking about how we present that content in order to maintain that relationship. So from your experience, perhaps what have been the wins in terms of that process of content development, content design, for the aim of maintaining client business relationships? And what have been the pitfalls?
Okay, I'm going to start with the pitfalls. Also coming out on something, another one.
I love this
I guess the flow is for you guys.
I love
Interestingly, I am an introvert. Yeah, I also struggled. I didn't know that it was that until I sat in a session and examined, and I ended up being a very interesting introvert. 70% of me is introverted. I flourish in my own space. Like, yeah. So this is the 30% that comes out, and it's on, yeah, like I put I put 100 in the 30%, and it is on nitrogen, I would say, as my pastor said yesterday. Yeah, I am on nitrogen right now. So in that kind of, being that kind of person puts you in a place where you don't really interact very much with people, because then you switch off, and then people be like, she feels, she does not come through with people. So now using that for my work had me to go into studying people behavior online. Because I'm creating content for online usage, I needed to understand how people behave online, because I wasn't going to go out there and see them in the physical. So I used their online, what people like talking about, how do they communicate, are they the same offline? So when I come out with my 30%, I'll be like, wow, you're not the person who is online. So that means there is a flip of like a coin that I have to use to communicate with someone online, which is not almost the same way that they are in the physical. So creating and designing the content, you gotta do the research. You gotta do the research to understand what are the behaviors, who are these people, where are they, how do they interact, Am I talking about a brand that is only online, or I'm talking about a brand that actually going to walk in? So if I'm going to talk about a brand that is they're going to walk in and then they're also going to see it online, how do I mix those? How do I bring them at an intersection and they all work together? So that is when you see me come out on my 30s and do all the crazy and understand everyone, and then go back in my 50 and build on the 30 that I found in the research, and then build on it to get this whole content that is interesting. Now, that is my pitfall, yet there's a success in there. Now, the big success is there are no new tools. There are no new tools. It's not something new. First and foremost, we all begin with writing. Like, we all write. Like, the first thing you as a child is write your name. So we are writers by training, by desiring to socialize with people, we are writers. So writing brings you into the content, into the direction of, now let me put my ideas down on paper. Let me put my idea of how I'm going to craft this blog. What am I even going to talk about? What am I saying in the blog? Oh, I'm going to do a design, but what is the design supposed to show? How is it supposed to come out? So you either draw, or you write the whole journey of how it's going to go. So in me, that is one of the good things that introverted as I am, because introverts, you realize most introverts write a lot. So you find a stash of books, like all the ideas are in there. So I started writing, and being good at that helped me start even Cahill Insights. Because I sat one time and I said, I'm good with digital. Social media. I'd been online since I was 12 years old. And yes. And being online then, I learned the whole people behavior and how do you jump from one account, one platform to another platform to another platform. Like here, guys, I was on 6 Degrees, so that is how old and how, I don't know if any of you guys know even what 6 Degrees is, but yes, I was there.
Wait, 6 Degrees was a platform?
Yeah, 6degrees.com.
Oh.
Yeah.
At a later date, we shall actually get into the nuances. But
so you have to understand how all these platforms work and how everyone moves from one place to another. So I'll give an example right now in the platforms that everyone knows. Twitter is different from Facebook. Instagram is different from Twitter. Facebook is different from Snapchat. It's different from WhatsApp, and also YouTube is different from TikTok. So as you're playing around, one of these is a feature on another one is a platform, but then it's also a feature on someone else's platform. So understanding the dynamics of how these platforms work also direct how you're creating the content and how you're going to drive it. So in there, you are looking at different segments of people who want to represent themselves differently on also these platforms. So you also have to go in and find, so what character of yourself are you representing on Instagram, which is not the same as the one you have on Facebook, which is not the same as the one you have on Twitter. And when we go in your WhatsApp, you're a very different person. So all the content you're presenting has to be to cater for all those platforms and the representation of that person. So it is really a journey that you have to strategize, plan well, and then bring out what is going to impact that person that you want to speak to.
Right.
Yeah.
And speaking of impacting people, Hilda, you have said through your work constantly and continuously is that when you're producing for impact, whether it's a smile, whether it's a feeling, So I want to hear from you regarding your practice. First and foremost, how do you put the word out there for the kind of work that you do? But then also, further to that, how do you ensure that there's engagement with whoever it is that you're impacting? Because impact doesn't come out of one encounter. It comes out of constant touch points. And I think one of the things that comes out from House of Ndinda is taking people through the journey, taking people through the process and saying, this is a thing that you can actually do. And it's up to you to either give me the money to make it for you, or you can actually do it because I want you along on this journey. Mm-hmm. So how are you cultivating your consumer base?
Okay, thank you. There's something she mentioned about understanding your target audience. Then you will know how to relate with them. Yeah? And over the years, I've got to learn that there's a place of perception. Yeah? Because in everything you do, in everything we do, we are read. There's someone reading you. Yeah? Yeah? There's somewhere in the Bible where the Bible talks about we are read, you're read by all men. So in everything that you are doing, there's someone watching you. Yeah? Now, when you know that perception is very important, everywhere in society, when you look at ladies, when you dress a certain way, as you're walking the streets, you're wondering, oh, how are they seeing me? You know, at your workplace, there's something in there that comes to your mind about how the other person is seeing, or, you know, whatever the energy you're giving off. So once you have understood that, then you know how to relate with whichever person that you're selling to. Yeah? Now, that means that, for example, if I'm producing, let's say jewelry. Yeah? Now, jewelry, it has different kinds of groups of ladies. Yeah? In terms of the kind of jewelry I've produced. Yeah? The kind of jewelry you'll for example, produce for someone, let's say, who is not uptown, or someone who is not in a city, someone who is, let's say, in the village, yeah, is totally different. So in other words, when I'm communicating with those two people, there must be a difference. Yeah? So over the years, I have learned that I must find a way to communicate to with every target person concerning my brand. Yeah. So when I go to the village, I must know how I'm communicating to that person. Yeah. There are people, they don't need to see you dressed a certain way for them to have a conversation with you. Yeah. So over the years, I've learned that when I have understood who my target audience is, I will know how to relate with them. I've been in places whereby when you appear dressed a certain way, people will not open up to you. That means I will not have a chance to sell what I must sell. Yeah? There are places where you don't need to call. Someone needs to have a one-on-one. Yeah? There are places where you just have to put on social media, different platforms, and you have reached that target. So at the end of the day is understanding that whoever I'm selling to, I have understood the place they are. For me to be able to reach them and interact with them and sell whatever I must sell, because they are reading me, they are reading you, they are reading you. That is so obvious. We are read everywhere we are. Yes.
Do you know? Yes, you can.
So, just to add on appearance and sell. Earlier in the days, I didn't have locks. I had a big afro, really. And I'm not so keen with combing. Yes, you're kind of...
My vibe, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all right.
So there are places that you walk in and everyone's like, are you going to be able to do the work? And they're like, why? You didn't comb your hair. And they're like, my hair is not going to do the work. But our brand says, and we're like, wow, okay. Do you have a comb? I comb it right now as you're here. So what I'm trying to deliberate at is appearance becomes an issue mainly when you're starting out and you want to get into these places. You got represent, you have to position product, service in a direction that says you're actually good. There's that bias that people have on how you look or how you're presenting yourself or how you're displaying yourself, or, my God, the way you speak. What is your name? Who gave you that name? Which region are you from? I'm like, oh God, I came here to do the work. The work doesn't have to have my name. It's actually going to be your work. You don't. So, advice on that one. If you're really comfortable in your skin, really comfortable with your name, really comfortable with what you're doing, and I'm saying this, if the Lord has actually ordained you to do what you're doing, please continue. Live the brand that you want to represent. Do not at any moment say, I'm going now to cut my hair. There's a time when we had a chat online on Twitter and someone was saying they cannot employ someone who has tattoos, they cannot employ someone who has dreads, and I was like, wow, this is how you're losing out on a cream, because most of the creative people don't have time to like comb hair and what. We don't have. So my hair just said, you know what, madam, you don't have time to comb us. We were going to dread ourselves. And it just went and dreaded itself. I'm like, well done, we can live like this. So for someone who has chosen to take the creative and be a designer or be a creative person in any industry, you're going to stand on your feet and say, this is my brand. If you're going to buy into my product is a representation of my brand. Yeah, stick it out.
I really like that you've raised the perceptions part, because a lot of times we're not very conscious about that, especially when we're starting out businesses and attracting consumers, or the kind of consumers that we want to attract, attracting audiences, or whatever it might be, basically who you are in service to, right? And I want to take this to Charity, because also just before we were having conversation about bad reviews. Hey, I like Patricia got a bad review about not uncombed hair. And the solution to that was to dread it, and here we are. So Charity, I liked that in our conversation you said there's value in bad reviews. So could you just expound on that, and then also take us through how to respond to bad reviews?
All right. There's value in everything. So good or bad, there is value. Bad reviews give you an opportunity to do a development of self, improvement of self, but it also gives you an opportunity to recreate. So assuming that Lynn's candles perhaps were getting a lot of wax, yeah? And the review was, guys, my tables in the house are full of wax because of Lynn's candles. So what does Lynn do? She goes back and creates the holders. You don't have to worry about the candle wax. We've got you with cool holders. And better still, I'm going to reuse the wax for something else. And then I come back to the bad review and say, oh, Carol, thank you so much for that bash, but guess what? I got you something nice. And guess what Carol is going to do? Be like, let me try it out, and I'll let you know how it goes. Then Carol is like, hey, but this thing has made my house look cuter. Okay, so Carol is going to come back on her Facebook, her Twitter, her Instagram, and say, guys, I blew up Lynn's thing, but guess what? She has brought us something worth the value. And guess what's going to happen? Everyone that was on Carol's thread saying, yeah, I agree, yeah. Lynn is registering 50% negative sentiments. Now that sentiment is going to turn into everyone that followed that thread is going to want to know about this thing again. And that becomes an opportunity for Lynn to resell the latest entry. So how do you do it? You have to be a listener. It's important that every brand listens to its audience. So whether you're on whatever platform, Instagram, Facebook, listen. In the listening, you're able to interpret the tone the customers are using. There are some customers like me, I don't do negative vibe, but my tone, you will know that you know. Yeah? While there are some customers or some online audiences that just speak their mind, like I don't care what happens, I'm just going through it there. So it's important to understand those audiences and come and respond to them best in the tone that they know how. Okay? But brands need to protect their value. So it does not matter whether you are feeling terrible about the bad review. Remember for the value in which you are operating. So if you are an entertainment brand, it's okay to bash. Like, yeah, it's going to give you results. But if you're going to be a Hilda who needs to sell her fashion and Cahill who has corporate guys who she has to go and sell content to, she can't be seen bashing. She has to come with the right tone and the right attitude, positive attitude, and apologize. I am sorry for doing this, but I promise you I'm going to come up with something better for you. And then on Monday, come back with something. When you promise, deliver. So listen and deliver. Delivering requires that you address your customers' tones, and your customers' perceptions will change based on how you approach them. Very important, your social network is your net worth. I know you guys have heard this over and over again, but it's real. If Cahill had a challenge with her content, with a certain brand. She's going to call what they call mercenaries. Yeah? The people who believe in the Cahill brand. So whether you're a personal brand or you're an organizational brand, there are people that will always fall for you and be for you regardless of the situation. So you have to create loyalty. So the customers that you have served over the years become your advocates. They become the people that fight for your rights. So in the bad reviews, I don't want to name names, but we have recent case studies, yeah, where the people who have enjoyed the services have come and responded positively on the brand reviews, and the brands have kept in the backside. So it's important to use your loyal customers to come back at the bad reviews. Just inbox them, say, this is a challenge. This is what exactly happened. Be truthful. Honesty online saves the day. Using the people that are advocates for you will take you a mile apart. Thank you.
Lynn, you wanted to add something?
I wanted to supplement what she said. The other thing, and I'm speaking from experience, is the willingness to learn. You could never be smart enough. I can't say that enough, because most of the reasons why I have also maintained clientele that's, I've served before is because I was willing to learn. Sometimes you deliver a table, yeah? And the tape in your mind, because in a creative's mind, there's a level to which we have perfected this product. It could go further, but that minute, I think this is kawa, right? So you deliver the table, and like we've all said, really, people are different styles, different expression, different reactions. Sometimes you deliver a table, while you think the craftsmanship was perfect, there's like a almost tiny swag scratch over there. And sometimes a client will be like, I don't know, I don't trust, perhaps if you had done, instead of banging your feelings, yeah, say, okay, I'll do that the next time. Now, the next time, like you said, take that back to that table, do what they've said. I'm saying this for where it's not like go break your table and do like something dramatic. No. If it's positive, because sometimes it's not positive that minute, but it's positive when they're telling you, you could round the edge of that table so that the sharp corner does not hit a child, for example. Go do that. And then that way, the client is able to speak to you honestly, which helps you develop your product better, because they're like, okay, last time I told her, she did not give me bad energy, she took it in stride, and then that creates a repetition of sorts for you. So be willing to learn, and to be honest, all the other lessons I've learned, financial discipline. Arrange you with, because we have to work with profile, what work have you done? I remember even recently a client of mine told me, I don't want to keep having to go to your Instagram or your phone, because they'll say, so what work have you done? I'm like, let me pull it up. Goes through a whole gallery of like 1,000 pictures trying to find that table. He told me you could actually invest in a tab. See? Put all your work. So that way when I say, what work have you done? It's a bit of swipe. Okay. So now I'm not getting in your, I don't want to be shocked by your gallery. I also don't want you to waste my time trying to find the pictures. So you see, you always learn from your clients, so be willing to learn at any other point, because that's what grows you.
So Len, just to follow through with another question regarding that, how then do you protect your brand while also serving the interest of the client? And I know it might seem like you've answered this, but let me expound. You've spoken about having a table that you're being told to
Redo.
to redo, right? But for you, that's the design that was in your head.
In your head.
Hey, that's the design that was in your head, and you're creative.
Yeah.
So how do you, and also because structurally, possibly like curving it will just aesthetically
change my design.
Change the whole thing. Then that also has to be in your portfolio. You get it?
Yeah.
And yet you're not pleased with that product itself.
Yeah.
So how do you balance those two? How do you straddle that line?
So it's really quite blurred. You have to be, I want to think discernment is very key here. The reason I say that is because you meet bullies, clients who are actually bullies, and he tells you, I've told you, round it. But you realize when I round that curve, I'm going to lose the dimensions that we've asked for. One, which means if I cut it, now we're having 50 cm, you want 70 cm, which means now I'm going to have to make another product for you. So I think, first of all, stand for who you are. They've said this before. House of Ndinda is a brand. When you started it, you had an approach to it, right? So for me, I'm going to make rustic furniture. Say, for example, that's all I'm going to make. I'm going to make rustic furniture. So anything that is a little over the edge of what I'm doing should have a point of, let me first retract, go back to my mind, go back to my values and say, this is a little out. And then be honest, come back to this client and say, while I would have loved to give you this product, I'm currently unable because it does not fit within the realm of the product we serve. And then you can even go ahead, by the way, and recommend someone who does it. It does not take a thing from you to recommend because you still want to maintain this client. And goal is to have this client, whether they are bullies or not. You need to keep within that. And also have a profile, like have a directive, like even for you, because you know it in your head. But whoever you employ might not know it. It's one thing for me to know it in my head. It's the other for me to communicate it through my other people that I'm working with, right? So if you have a system that says, okay, so we can only check a product if the damage is, this much. If the client is unhappy, do we then do a refund or not? Because sometimes you actually don't want to redo the product. And it is what it is, right? But do you have something that guides you on how you approach these things? So that's why that's why I said it's blurred. Sometimes it's going to pinch on your end, and sometimes it's going to pinch on the other end. But how you approach it, how you react to it, maintaining that we're professionals, really. You're not going to now you have a lot of kajanja. No. If you still come, like I said, and say, hi, unfortunately, I'm unable to. However, I know a certain someone that could fit that. Or, sorry, we thought this was what we wanted. Now that I'm saying we thought, the other thing that I've learned on job to do is be clear. So if you come, you want a table. We've discussed, you've said, is there a writing to which you're going to sign? That way I'm protecting my brand because you see, clients get down the road, production, delivery day is there, and the man is like, but me, I ordered a mugavu, you've brought Nkalati. Nkalati is a whole different color. It's like a whitish situation. Mugavu is dark. So it's a he said, she said situation now, which usually you'll not get out if you're the what? If you're the company, right? If you're the provider, the supplier. So when you've talked with this client and they say they want a table 70 centimeters by 30 or something, put it in writing and say, does this look like what we've discussed? Give them an image if you need to. Give them like a bit of an idea of what it will turn out to be. So that way when I have delivered, then the part where you have to now say, but me, I asked for Mugavu, is you signed over it. That way you're protecting yourself and, still serving your client.
Going over to you, Hilda. Lynn made mention about putting systems in place. Now, we can get carried away being solo entrepreneurs, but we know that we can't be the beginning and the end of the business. So for the kind of work that you do, be it graphic design, be it interior, exterior design, be it fashion design, how do you ensure that, one, you are meeting the volume of demand that you have, and two, ensuring that you are not stressed out by things that you have no idea about? Now, like she's talking about writing things down. That's contractual obligations, right? You spoke about finances and bookkeeping and things like those. I mean, because these are all things that you need to have in order to, one, expand, but also two, you yourself actually mentioned that we're creating brands that exist even after us, right? They exceed us. So not just in terms of our physical lives, but also surely like we should aspire to be exporting things. So how are you ensuring, or how have you ensured that you've set up systems that enable you to meet the kind of impact that you want to meet for your end consumer?
Okay, thank you. It's important to have a vision, because when you have a vision, that means you have seen ahead. You know where you're going. So when you come back to your present, you're applying the very things that are already in your vision. Yeah? So, excuse me. So when I know what the future is, Yeah, that means I have created a vision concerning the same. Yeah, so that means that I have structures that I've put in place to support that vision. Okay, so now in putting in place those structures, whatever team I am working with, they must follow those structures. They must be falling into those structures. Okay, so that means that there are certain trainings that are done even for your staff. Yeah, the way I present myself must be the way my staff presents itself. Yeah, because it's a brand. When they see the other person outside there, they have to see the brand. Yeah, so when you create those systems under that vision, it becomes easier to make sure you follow through. Yeah, there's something she mentioned about associations, which was very interesting to add on what I'm saying. Yeah, that when you have a certain kind of environment, a certain kind of people that you're relating with, yeah, concerned in relation to who your brand is, in whatever weaknesses that may have surfaced concerning your brand, these people are your backup plan. They will say everything good, yeah? But then there's a place of being truthful, like she was saying, being honest, yeah? I remember those very first years when I was starting to do fashion design. You have a client and they want a certain kind of garments. But then you look at their body, yeah? Women, especially women, we have beautiful bodies, yeah? But because you have seen something and you're like, okay, this is what you want, but can I also suggest what I think would work better? And you notice that the person's mindset is stuck on what they want, yeah? So it is up to me, first of all, to find the best way to express in the best interest of that person, yeah? Now, I talked about vision, and I talked about the different structures and the different trainings that you give as your staff and your brand, yeah? Now, once I have that in mind, I have to know that in my vision, I know who my target is, yeah? And I know how I'm supposed to relate with my target. She talked about tone and all those things, yeah? So there's a time I had a client, and what they wanted was totally different from what is fit for them, yeah? Now, it was a place of us doing what she wants first, then she sees how it looks. Then it doesn't work, yeah? Now, she talked about the place where you sign, yeah? So it is very important that the documentation is always in place. And the terms and conditions are very clear, yeah? That we are going to do what you want, but I have given you my mind concerning what you want, yeah? But now we are going to do it like this, ABCD. So in case it doesn't turn out the way you want it, there is a chance for us to redo it. But then we must agree on the terms concerning what we are doing, yeah? So it's a place of understanding where you're going, but in your vision, remember what you're doing it for, it's coming from within you for the other person. So making sure that they are satisfied with whatever it is and having structures in place.
I really like that. Thank you so much for sharing. Now we're going into the last question just before we go for a break. And Hilda, this one's for you. We've spoken so much about meeting the consumer's need. A lot of times, one of the things that is becoming more apparent today is a lot of people are constantly talking about we're moving away from working in silos, as in tailors, you're there, carpenters, you're here, you know, and more, you know, just looking at a more integrated workspace. Hilda, what role does developing content play in something like that? Because in order to communicate vision, you need to be able to sell it to the team that's working with you. And I think more specifically for someone like you who's working in content creation, managing different accounts for different clients, you can't do all of it alone. That means you have to contract people, but you also need to be able to communicate what it is that you have been contracted to do to these people that you are contracting, so subcontracting. So how do you go about that? What are some of the things that you keep in mind to ensure that, again, at the end of the day, the client is happy, but also this person who is in your service is also goes away feeling fulfilled, and they know that, you remember that copy I wrote, it was too crazy. actually, let's just go back. You keep going back, you print it, you frame it, So how do you ensure?
Okay. Interestingly, you have baptized me.
Hilda.
So Patricia,
I can take the name. Please. I can receive. There's an anointing that can flow from that side to me. So really.
Yeah.
My apologies, Patricia.
It's okay. Okay. You asked like almost 4 questions. Did you guys hear?
Yeah,
Like she
yeah.
threw 4 questions.
I
at
wanted
me.
to put all of them inside before we go for the break.
So I run a digital marketing agency, and I've been at it for 8 years. I started alone. I started with 5K shillings. That 5K was to buy data from Airtel. And I was uploading blogs because I'd written a number of things and they were kept. And then I was like, you know what, I need to open a blog and put these things up. People need to read these things. That's how I started out. Now, in the blogs, I was teaching about how to do social media and how to make it work for you and all these things. So yeah, down the road, people were interested, wanted to be taught, wanted to be, how do we get on, those kind of things. So I grew into a place where I couldn't clone myself. I am not Mr. Smith in Matrix. So I had to find people who had the same like mind, who had saw the vision that I was working at too, and said, you know what, guys, there's this thing. Everyone is speaking social media. Everyone is speaking, I can open a page. Everyone is speaking, I can handle your page. I can grow your number. No, the numbers then weren't a thing. It was more of, I can get you on Facebook. I can get you on Facebook. I can get you on Facebook. Everyone is on Facebook. You need to get there. And I was like, no, everyone is not going to be, that is not sustainable. Because now everyone will learn how to get there. And then what? So I told guys, my vision for Cahill Insights, or what I'm working at, is to stay at what began the company. So we need to start with the content. So what is content? How do we do it? So the whole, remember when I said the writing? So we started explaining to ourselves what we meant when we said content and what encompasses in that content. Some people just come and say content is blogging alone. No, it's not. Right now we are providing content. Someone wrote a script for this particular show or particular event that we are at right now. That is content, and say this is supposed to go here, we need so and so, we need the other person, we also need this one. What is the impact that we're looking at is that. That is all content. So we come up with an idea and say, you know what are the things that fall in the content that we want, and who are we going to target with the content? Who is even going to buy this thing that is only going to either last a day or 2 days, speak about that particular event and go? You see the flyers you created? You cannot reuse them, except you're going to do a throwback in like 2025 or 2026, you see. Or when you're going to just come back and reminisce and say, hey, Patricia looked nice those days, but now she has grown old, it's 2059, you see. So most of the things that are created, like graphics that you mentioned, they're supposed to impact at that particular moment. How is it impacting the person then? Have they moved them from section A to section B? Or have they left them there and they are contemplating their minds and thinking about it? What is the target you're working at? And all of those cannot be done by one person. So I can't be writing and then thinking about the people and then researching and then also posting and then looking about in a client and then analytics and then, oh my God, it's a lot. And I was like, you know, I need a team. So I created a team. I brought in people, drew some systems. There are some failures, some successes. There are systems are not easy to build. Guys, if you're doing a business, systems are the hardest thing to build and yet the easiest ones if you master them. But when you're starting out, you're not thinking about having an accountant, having a lawyer, having a human resource manager, having an administrator. No. You're thinking about, I have a product and I have a client and I'm selling this. But then, if you don't do the systems, which I have learned from a lot hard and being dropped down into my mind every day, Business Garage, Worship Harvest, hi guys. Yeah. All the time is, if you don't work on your business, you have no product to give. You have to work on the business. Yes, we are creatives, we design, we like being in our, I'm going to open my DB and come up with my things, be in your space and hide. The business needs to be driven also, so you need to work on it. You need to have an accountant who is going to tell you we are not making money. We need to either close, everyone goes back into agriculture, or strategize. We have no people who are working on what you're bringing in, so the only people that we have are enough for what we have. Please don't bring in more projects, those kind of things. If no one is monitoring for you, your business is dead. So I agree in that line. Failed at our systems, really did fail. And then came back and said, you know what? I'm not going to be an agency. I'm going to be what? A boutique. Work from home, remote working. And before then, everyone was like, Patricia, people don't know these things. What are you bringing? So I'm narrating this story. I'm trying to show you how your questions, all of them, I'm answering them, they fall in a storyline. So I was like, the systems are going to change. I've seen how digital, I've seen how technologies just come and change everything, because being online when you are starting being online when you are 12 and walking through all the same, you see things that like, hold up, that is coming, that, okay, from here, then they are going to bring that. I was like, at a certain moment, people are going to start loving working from home and not want to commute and go anywhere. The cities are going to be congested, and people are just going to desire, I need a job that I can do from my house. I need a job that can keep me with my children. I need a job that can keep me with my other side incomes of rearing goats and animals and whatever, and what I am doing my farming on the side, you get. So I started the remote working business. I said, guys, you come in at office 3 days, do 6 hours, go home. Don't come back until other Monday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday. That's what we did. I really had a lot of, all the elders that I getting mentored from were like, it's not gonna work. I'm like, it's going to work. Watch me. 8 years down the road, we're still here. I'm not closing. And now I decided, you know what, guys? Remote work from wherever you are. Don't come to office. We don't need you. We don't have an office. Our office is online. So if you're looking for us somewhere location here, we don't have. So KCCF needs me, they will find me in my house. And I will still pay the bills. That's the other thing. You need to pay the government its money, people. You are creative, I understand, but you also need to pay your... give Caesar his money. Caesar needs his money, so you pay him. Do not default, because when you default, you're defaulting on your own business. They will come for you, they will close you, your name will die. My name can't die because it's the name that I have on the brand, so I make sure the name is there. Anyway, going back to the story and answering your last question. So what becomes the systems is what becomes your business. Then you can remove yourself from the business and go and do other things. We are not called to do one business. Like, we are all here, actually, all of us here are multi-something. Multi-potentialite, what was it? Multi-creative. Then multi-potentialite too. There's multi-talent. So we are all here. That means if she's not doing the bank thing, yeah, she's like rearing her chicken somewhere. If she's not designing a flyer, she's tailoring. You get? So you have to find ways of how all these things are going to work together. Yeah. Have I answered all your questions?
Yes, you have. So you find ways by creating systems. Hilda, last comment from you.
Yes, I wanted to add in something that she said that is so beautiful. You know, where you take yourself out, that means you're giving other people an opportunity. Yeah, that is a place of empowering other people. Yeah, when you have the accountant, you have all these other people, you know, that are in your vision. It's a place of you looking at the world as the bigger picture. That means you're opening opportunities for others. Yeah, and as they are growing under you, they are learning. Them eventually they go out into their own. So that is how it keeps, you keep on multiplying yourself even in your business and then the different people that you work with. Yeah.
Thank you so much, ladies, for sharing so candidly and so honestly and so earnestly. We've had quite a couple of confessions this morning. I'm here for the tea. But we're going into a short break. If you are attending this conference on Twitter, don't forget to tag hashtag WI Design, that is Women in Design, and that's the name of the conference today. But also, if you are joining us on Zoom, if you are joining us on Facebook, if you are joining us on YouTube, you can also drop your questions in the chat box that will be to the side, on the bottom, wherever it is on your screen. Just be sure to drop your question there. We'll be coming back to respond to some of the questions that you've already sent in. I'm quite eager and keen to hear what the audience has to ask you, multi-passionate, multi-talented, multi-creative individuals that join us on this stage today. But for now, here's a break, a much needed. water break.
All of them.
Welcome back to the first Women in Design conference, and my name is Caro Kagezi. My handle on Twitter rather is Buttons and Socks. I've been asked why the handle. Well, since we are in the mood for sharing secrets today. It's because I really like buttons and I really like socks, and I was really conflicted about which one to prioritize as the handle. So let's just clear that and get that out of the way. But if you're just joining us, we are having this conference. Patricia, please. We're having this conference hosted at Motive, but also it is very much led by Artfield Institute of Design, which is basically based in Naguru. If you have not checked out the campus yet, please be sure to check it out. But also, if you've not checked out the Motive campus yet, do find us on Plot 7 Old Port Belt Road. We're going into some questions from you. And for me, one of the things that I've absolutely enjoyed hearing about is your different journeys and the things that you were constantly learning on the job. Getting into some of the questions, and I think this one is directed to you specifically, Hilda, is how does one build a fashion house with little to no income and also train others at the same time?
Thank you. That's a beautiful question. When I look at my journey, I didn't have money that was given to me to start. Yeah, I remember at some point I would get, you see, like bed sheets that have been used out, and then I would cut my patterns and tailor something. Yeah, my personal design is people say it's a bit weird because I have what I put on, not what I make for my clients. It doesn't really have a certain form. It's just there. So I would just look at everything I have around me. And I think that's very important for anyone who wants to do something. You don't have to wait for someone to give you capital. You don't have to wait for someone to, you know, because you already have an idea in you. It's already in you. So, so I remember I used to use those different things, yeah? For example, there's a time, oh, my husband. There's a time we had a certain nice bed cover. It was very nice. I remember we bought it in one of the malls here back then. So when its time ran out, I looked at it, I'm like, okay, I didn't have, I remember back then, because I remember before I was married, my husband was always there, somehow, because we used to do this thing together, somehow we're always together. So I got that bed cover and then do cutouts, and I did cushion covers. Yeah? So for me, it was very important to always look around me. Yeah? It's always important to look around you and start with what you have. Because if God says he has great plans for you, that means there's a provision that is already given. You just have to start. Yeah? Some people sit there, they're like, I don't have this, I need to get a shop, I remember my husband used to tell me, because I remember I would tell him, we need to have a shop, we need to have a shop. But then he's like, no, you have to start here, you know, because you have to think about paying rent and doing all that. So for me, I looked around myself and started there, and I kept on perfecting my skill, because when you're tailoring, it's not a one-off thing. You have to continue practicing yourself. So even with those small places I would do, and then take pictures and send to people and post here and there and there, it gave me a certain ground. Now, for me, it is a very, very big experience for me that when I started with what I have, somehow a way was provided. So I would encourage that person to look around them, yeah? Get time as they are trying to make sure they get where they are. Let them associate with the right people. If you want to be a fashion designer, follow there are so many different, you understand, you associate with the right people. Do research. That is you, you know, that is you already starting your thing. Yeah? So as time comes, you'll see doors opening for you. Yeah? Maybe, for example, if there's anyone out there, I love training people. You understand? Even you asking that question is already showing that you want to do something. Yeah? So I don't hesitate. So just by even saying that, you've already created a certain, a certain access for yourself. Yeah? So for me, that is how it started for me. And I think it's very important. Yeah.
So they'd also asked, how can they train others? And I like that your answer culminated in you like training. So whoever asked this question, do be sure to reach out to Hilda.
Yes, definitely.
Because she is passionate about training. Be sure to connect with her on Twitter at Hilda Kazibwe.
Hilak 20.
Hilak 20. Yeah. And you can find her on Twitter, and I'm pretty sure you can kick it off in the DMs and take it from there. Yeah. Someone else asks, how best can I market my workplace and what are some of the different ways to brand? And that question goes to you. I don't think you can answer the entirety of it, but please, in like 1 or 2 minutes.
Okay, thank you. That's a very broad question. But how to market yourself?
The workplace.
The workplace. Yeah. Market your workplace.
Yeah, that's the question.
Market yourself or the workplace?
They say, how can I market my workplace? Okay. And what are the different ways to brand? So they probably work in a marketing in a marketing department of a company, and maybe they're stuck on marketing strategies. So
great. So one, what is the value that your workplace offers? But two, why are you employed there, or why are you the MD there? Whatever position you're holding there, you must leave the brand that you want to market. You must be able to experience the things that your customer is experiencing, and then by that you're able to dive through. Personal story, every place I've worked for, yeah, they're that close. And I live with those brands everywhere I go. And if you ask me any question about advertising, you're looking for a referral in advertising, I will take you to my very first guy who employed me. No names. If you ask me about telecos, guys, I hold one SIM card because that teleco has brought me where I am today. Cahill, with a bunch of other influencers, the days when influencer marketing was just starting, they're the guys who helped me penetrate through this thing called digital marketing. I like to say that whatever you do, how little, how big, how humongous it is, do it with your best ability. Do it like there's no tomorrow. Like step out with your A game. Why? She mentioned something that someone is looking at you, your brand in the workplace, outside the workplace, someone is observing. My breakthrough in digital marketing, my breakthrough in marketing as a whole, my breakthrough in the ladders is because someone watched out and handpicked me. So it is important that whatever you do, you're doing it with your A game, the best of your ability. When you do that, you will be forced to market your workplace without you knowing it. You are the representation of your organization. You speak on behalf of the organization because you're very passionate about what you do. So that's step one. Step two, you must ensure, I don't know what position you hold, but if you're in management, it is important that vision that you guys were talking about, it is important to be cascaded down to the people you work with. In this, I like to say, idiot-proof concept, bring it out so that like everyone has to know why you live, the passion that you live, the purpose for which you do the things that you do. You must be able to educate the people you work with and interact with. When I was in Airtel, all these guys had to buy SIM cards. Not because they're working with me and supporting me, but I mean, why would you be selling something that you're not experiencing? Yeah. Why would I come and say, Hilda has fantastic clothes when I can't buy them? Why would I say my house looks marvelous if I can't,
if I don't know?
You know, why would I say Carol is such a fantastic entertainer if I am not engaging with her? So you must live and live to cascade to the people that you interact with within the organization, and live with the values outside the organization. Fundamental facts on marketing. 4 key things I want to leave you with. This is outside you now building the brand. Now you're going to market. One, you must know the target audience for which the organization has been placed. Two, you must carry out research. Customers are evolving. 2 years ago, everyone was like, hey, are there trade shows in Nakasero market? We are going to go there, those of us in retail space. The bankers, we want to open bank accounts, we are going to Nakasero market. Guys, we are now digital. The customer base that you had to tap into has moved. They are now onto digital space. So as an organization, what research have you done? 3, what upskills have you given to your employees to help you sell or market? If you are not where 1.5 million Ugandans are on Facebook and you're beginning TikTok, which is just starting, question marks, yeah? If you're still on text, storytelling from LinkedIn from page 1 to page 2, when your customer attention span has reduced to
26
in July, as we speak now, we must be like on 4.5 seconds. So if your video, we are still on TVC 30 seconds, 60 seconds, my friend, you're not going to market enough. But most importantly, you are building a vision that all your employees are going to drive with you. And that vision is not just me working for an organization. I have people to feed, so you must be able to pay my value.
Thank you.
So we're out of the space of we're earning 1 million shillings, 500,000. Economies have changed. What used to be 500 shillings worth of half a liter milk, it's now 3,000. So if you're not increasing my pay 5 years later, I mean, I'm not going to be motivated. So motivate people to build your own brand. Thank you.
To you, Patricia, how can a new organization grow its following on social media? Well, this question is, I think we just like to send you many questions at once. So this question is also followed up, the same person asking, saying, and then how can I use influencers and even contact them? What are the different kind of influencers?
Wow.
What makes up an influencer strategy?
Wow.
So yeah, in short, how can this person exist on social media? How can the organization exist on social media while, I guess, making the impact that they're trying to drive at?
I'm going to start with influencers. I think, Charity, we need to open a school to teach what influencer marketing is about. Because at the moment, everyone is an influencer. We are all influencing, all of us. There's no one who is not influencing about something. As if you go back to down zero, we are all influencing. Question is, what? What are you influencing about? What are you representing? Actually, influencing is more of I represent this, or I speak into this, or I speak about this. I like this, I enjoy this, so I'm going to shout about it, I'm going to present it. Now, when it comes to our digital marketing and influencing, I don't know who said because you have numbers, you are an influencer. Oh my God, that has killed the branding online. It has killed what influencing is supposed to be. Having numbers does not mean you are influencing, guys. It does not mean me following you, me who comes on Twitter once in a day, but I'm following you, but I'm seeing everything you're posting. My dear, no, I am not. So having, it's like, okay, let me say this. Having 10,000 people is like having Nambole filled with all those people and you're feeding them nothing because you don't have content. Yeah, that is what influencing is supposed to be. What kind of content are you giving us? What are you telling us? What are you sharing? Do we feel you in what you're sharing? Or you come today and post Airtel, tomorrow you post Orange, the other day AfriCell, the other day Airtel, the other day, and then you want to go and ask Charity for money because Charity is the one representing the bank, so Charity is, no. You as a person, what are you about? So influencing begins from knowing that, Patricia, you will not see a brand, an alcohol brand on my name. It will not be there. You will not find it there. Now that I know Christ very well, you won't even find condoms. You won't find them there. Because that is the representation of who I am. If a client is going to give me a gig to push, They have to first know who I am and what I represent. It's not about the money. I understand, yeah, we are not well off. We are not earning 10 millions of money. But still, we do not have to sell our souls because of money. I understand people are, and also, this is going to go to charity. You, the brand people that come looking for influencers, you come asking for numbers. How many numbers? I'm looking for people who have 10K followers. And then maybe the young people who are coming online also go and start, follow back, I follow. Then they post a picture and be like, you follow me because I look nice. Someone told me, hey, what is happening on Twitter? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I've seen like 5 pictures on my thread, people saying, I look nice, follow me. And then I put your hashtag IW design. Like people are in a trend to follow. Really, guys, that is not how it is done. I am telling you, it's not how it is done. Find a niche, find a topic, engrave yourself in that topic, learn that topic, enjoy that topic, start speaking about that topic, preach that topic, be the voice of that topic, influence on that topic. Then charity will be like, yeah, on that topic, I see you. Please come and talk about it here. This is why you see us here. We have a topic. Like, I'm sure no one can say Patricia doesn't know what she's talking about in content, because I have done the road, I have dug. You can't, and I'm still doing, because I am not yet there, guys. I'm not yet there. So when you go and look at my numbers on Twitter, at Patricia Cahill has what? Guys, it is not about the numbers. Go and read on the things I am actually talking about. That is where the magic is. That is for influencers. The other one was?
Do you know, I actually think that you've answered the question, because the initial question was, they have a new organization and they would like to grow a following on social media.
As an organization, it's actually different from how you grow as a person on a personal brand. So as an organization, to grow a following, going back to the analogy I gave, you're calling people into Nambole, to do what? You want the following, but we do what with that? When we come, so now we are following. We are followed. We are here. We have reached. Now we are following you. What are you telling us? So I have seen accounts on Facebook, actually. I've seen pages that have anonymous numbers. And you go and look at, okay, what is the engagement? 0. How many people? So 3. And like, why do you have 1 million and only 3 people are seeing you? Because your content is not pulling people to come and enjoy it. The content you're posting does not resonate. It is not encouraging. It is not engaging. It's not interacting with anyone. You're speaking to an audience that is on their phone, but they are not seeing you. It's like having a chivuru in Nambole, and people are just seated in their chairs and no one is dancing. That is who you are. So if you're a brand, you...
We have moved away from the norm of numbers.
Yes.
Brands are looking for conversion.
Thank you.
So it's different to say I am an influencer. It's another to say I am influencing and I have gotten 1,000 customers for Cahill Insights. That's what brands are looking for. So the influencer marketing that we had in 1998 to 2000,
We actually, yeah.
it has faded. Those days we are looking for followers.
Yes.
But we are in 2021.
Now in
Madam.
2021, we have built, the communities,
The
have
communities
grown.
have grown.
Everyone now is on Facebook. We have now migrated to TikTok.
You see,
But now what we are looking for is, I want money.
No, actually the reason why we are on TikTok is the content.
Yeah.
The people are producing content, they are not going to find their follow me because I'm nice, follow me because I look. No. Someone is going to come in and tell you your mental health is bad because this. Someone is going to tell you this is your word of the day to encourage you. Someone is going to tell you this brand I bought, it is rubbish. This one is, you get what I mean? That is how you influence. That is how you grow numbers. That is how you grow an authentic audience. Yes.
Organic growth.
Yeah.
And I hope that that's something to you keep in mind. But also, I think
you
one
said
thing...
organic growth. I'm not throwing away advertising. No. I'm also saying the advertising, you need to know who you're also targeting.
Right.
You don't just advertise. People just put and I'm like, where am I getting this? Was I? No. And now I have to ask myself, how am I a target market for this particular ad? Like, why am I? In what line which thing did you put in there? So you need to think about the people you're targeting for your ads also. I don't want to look at your ad and tell Google, Facebook, repetitive, annoying, vulgar. You know when you're vulgar, then your account is going to be locked. Yeah.
I actually didn't know that part of the account being blocked.
Oh,
Well,
you didn't
sorry
know.
about the people whose accounts I got locked. To you, Lynn, how does design and business interlink, and how can I maximize profits in design?
How can you maximize profit in design? I'm going to start with that because it's about the money. End of the day, we need the money. So how do you maximize? You're going to have to do your research. You're going to learn things. Like I said, as a creative, usually, you have the tendency to be in your space. So for me, I know up to this much, I am perfect. I don't want to add. No, we're good. But you forget the people out of your space are a wide variety of people. So how do you maximize the profit? Study your people. Do your research. What appeals to them? Now for me in interior, what genre, what theme, what style are we on today? What's the biggest number of my clientele? Is it like, what's the age difference? Is it like a 30 to 40? When it's a 30 to 40, what style? Or it's, if today, you know, with Pinterest, anyone can pull off something off a board. And so what is appealing to these people? When you know what is appealing to them, then you tweak your product. I'm not saying lose your product. I'm just saying touch it up a little bit and then do that. Then also put yourself out there. If I had stayed in my house, because when I started this business, as in my house, I'd quit my job. I was just there, doing my candle holders. If I had not taken the step to share that candle holder, I'd never had someone buy. And that someone never had referred someone.
Yeah.
So that way, because when Indira approached me, they had heard about me. They had seen me. So I was not in the house. I'd stepped out of my zone. I had gone out. When you do that, then you're already marketing yourself. When you market yourself, now, the other thing about creatives is for us, we want to see the smile. So that's it. Oh my God, the smile. And then you're happy about the smile. But where is the money at? That's the one thing I repetitively did. I am excited about the client. They love the table. Oh my God, I'm so happy. And then I go back home. By the way, I'm in losses. I used my money somewhere down the road. I did not think of the transport cost. You underquoted. And so what I did is I started doing files for her. They do those classes. Business garage. You know, I am not making kalango, but you don't even have to be a Christian or have faith to attend business garage. They teach pretty much how to start a business, how to run a business. What do you do? So when the money comes in, how do you add the markup? What markup? So you need to learn those. When we learn that, the profits are going to come. Because now, you know that when I open this business and it's running, I have a bank account. Separate your money. Now I need to add profit. Separate your profit. You see, you're also going to move that profit off to the other account. Because you see, as a sole owner, on my end, I'd still go and swipe that card, it's the money. Maybe it's in the same account, so I do not know what money is mine, what money was the profit, what money is the taxes. So you separate these taxes as well. If you can get your financial literacy right, you've made it, you've maximized the profits. I forget what the other question was. How does design and business interlink?
Yes.
Design is business. Me, I am business. You're business. Everyone, like they earlier said, we've all been given something. Now it is up to you to use that something, because there's people who are into cooking. You just love to bake. Me, Carol here is a perfect moderator. She speaks fluently, no nerves, nothing. So it's up to you to say, what am I good at? What do I love to do? What have people told me I like to do? You know, people tell, but you girl, you know, you speak well. Eh? When someone says it 1 to 3 times, 4 people, run with it. And you're sure you love it, and you do it effortlessly, run with it. That is how you mix the two. So now that you've learned I'm a good speaker. Profile, go to Instagram. It's quite easy with digital marketing, because you see House of Linda has been running online. I don't have a location, no showroom. Like you can't, come see this chair. But I mean, I have worked with clientele that is quite huge. You'd imagine, how do they trust this girl? I went on Instagram. I posted a picture. This candle holder made out of this, Went on the stories, put the process. So now I'm trying to buy trust, because also I could come and put a table and I'm not the one who's doing it. And then I'm lying to you. But you see, you're selling yourself. So you put it there. Then now, and the other thing that also cripples people is that we fear to start. So you have the design, which could be business. But it won't be business if you do not actually do it. Because you can be like, I'm a good speaker, I speak quite fluently, I'm good. But then what? The step 2. So you take the step, and that way, that's business. Business is just like some political situation that was made, created to shake us, to scare us. So, I'm not going to start. You're a business. That's not for me. But business is basically you, because you're the brand. You are the brand. You yourself are it. So that's how they link up, really. Not what you are. Start where you're at. Start with whatever you have. And you research, and that's it. Thank you for asking.
So start with what you have. I also like that it echoes what Charity was saying earlier. Start.
Already.
Start there.
Just start.
Yeah, and then you figure it out.
Yes.
Speaking of, someone here is asking a question, and I'm going to direct it to you, Hilda. They ask, in setting systems, and I'm asking you this because you spoke about vision and everything that came out of that. In setting systems for a small business, do I set them at the beginning or as the business expands?
I remember for me, when we were starting our agency with my husband, called 6 a.m., I think we didn't start with the systems in place, we just started. And then they found us along the way. But again, that kind of weakened us a bit, yeah? Because we didn't follow the process. The process is very important, yeah? It helps you cover up whatever might come in the future, yeah? So I would really advise this person to start with the systems in place first. And I mean, even if you're one person, yeah? You just do some reading and find out. I don't know what kind of business that person would want to do, okay? For example, let's say you want to do a restaurant, yeah? Sit down and calculate what does that mean. Yeah, who do you need in that place? What do you need to do, okay? So by the time you bring 1 or 2 people to sit at the table with you and see how this can work, you already have something in place, yeah? It doesn't mean that you must have an accountant there immediately, yeah? But what does an accountant do? You personally, you must know, because this brand is you, yeah? So by the time you create those systems and you bring people to work in those systems under that vision, you must have gone through it, you as a person, yeah? And I believe, I mean, now we have access to everything, yeah? You can just Google, maybe just do Google. Who is an accountant? Get the job description, understand what do they do. Because at the end of the day, when I'm stepping out, I must represent all that. Yeah, I must be knowledgeable about all that. There was another part of the question?
No, actually, that was the question. The question was, do they sit from the start, or do they sit as the business expands? And I think that
let them start at the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the start. It will help them.
Yeah, I think in 1 minute, you can all just in 1 minute. It's a strict 1 minute because we literally have 5 minutes to the end. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
So in 1 minute, we'll start with you, Len.
What I'm thinking you do is, like you said, because when you start, you don't need sometimes an operations, say? Because now it's one, I'm still baking 4 things. So you can still move the 4 things. As you grow, then you discern how many people now do I need, how do I bring in. I would also very much advise that you don't stretch it out till you're like a huge, now you have, a lot of growth, because you will not correct that mistake when it's fully grown. You need to bend it when it's still bendable. You need to create the systems not far out, but also not too early, because then you're going to spend money that you actually don't have. So that's pretty much.
So on my side, recently I had to go back down to it. So I do a vision board. And now this time I'm picking from what Christ did. So he went and started picking one person by a time. It wasn't like he went and picked all of the people in. I've been asking myself, why did he have to just have 12 people, and then the 12 would just go and get the rest of the other people? So you're going to start with what is important. Who is important? Who is important for me at this particular stage? Why am I actually, the question is, why am I growing? Jesus had friends when he was growing up. I'm sorry, we are, guys online, we are Christians on this floor right now. So
yeah, our references come from the Bible, so please. You have to ask yourself some questions that, if I'm starting this business, who is starting with me? No one. I'm starting from my bedroom. So if you're starting from your bedroom, what is the business looking like? As in, what is it going to be? Is it my personal business? It is going to only me, Cahill, or it is going to go out? If it's going to go out, who else do I need to help me push this? You do your vision board. I need an accountant. I need a lawyer to help me with when the legal comes through. I need someone to help me with the URA. I need. Then you figure out, now, does this make an organization? At the moment, right now, who do I need immediately? You have drawn your own, how many for whatever. If you're going to do 100 years of your business, God bless you. You have your 100, how many people, all positions you're going to need. But at the moment, you're still 2 days or 3 days or 5 days or a month old. Who do you need at that particular moment? On that vision board, you plug that person in. Is that the person you call in? On my side, I would say, please get the accountant. Get the person who is going to handle that money. Because one problem that I've noticed, all of us business owners who start out from passion, from creative, it is my money. I'm the one who came up with the idea. I'm the one who was struggling. It is not your money. You gave birth to a business called Cahill Insights. You called, that is the name. That money is for that business. Tell that business to pay you so that you can have your money. You get? The only person who is going to help you handle that is the accountant. That is where I would stop.
Thank you, Patricia. And of course, last but not least, Charity.
Thank you, and thank you, ladies. I'm going to burst your bubble. All the systems that we have spoken about, they are readily available online. So if you don't have the resources, you don't have the accountant, you have the idea, the tools are for free. And at most, $10 at most. So if you want to know your customer, you want to know the followers, you want to know where you want to be, you want to know the material to use, you want to know how to account, you need to know the lawyers. The papers they use are all online. You just pick a mentor in the respective areas. I like to call them your board members. I learned this in 2020 with my mentor. Everyone into business, even personal brands, look for a board, a personal board. You don't pay them a penny, but when the business arises, please remember to appreciate them. So in your vision, in your personal board, get those things you're talking about, an accountant, a lawyer, that when you get these tools online and you use them, they just check for you. Yeah. Social networks. In your network, there will be those people that out of sheer passion for you, they will guide you through. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Charity, and thank you so much to each and every single one of you ladies for sharing so candidly. Now, Artfield Institute of Design will be introducing, or launching rather, their 6-week masterclasses very soon. The link will be on all social media platforms, from Twitter to Facebook, which can't access Facebook legally, but, well, Facebook or whatever. Yeah. I mean, you can definitely
Facebook.
Yeah, you'll find the link where you can sign up for this 6-week training, where you get to go in depth. If you thought that we went deep today, we're going deeper. Cahill, get ready to share some more secrets. So we'll be getting deeper into things like branding, creative writing, content creation, digital and social media marketing in these 6-week trainings. Now, also interestingly, after the 6-week training, you get placed under mentorship. How amazing is that? You get placed under mentorship. Let me tell you, one thing that I'm learning in life is that if you want to succeed, you have to do it in tutelage. Under someone. Someone has to hold your hand through it. Otherwise, you could be drowning in the Red Sea. So don't do that thing. Don't allow for it. Now, you can register at the link which you will find on all social media platforms, but also at a small fee, small fee of 300,000 shillings. And consider that an investment in this big business, in this future, right, that you were setting yourself up to in order to be able to impact thousands and thousands of people. And I don't just mean in terms of the product that you're putting out, but also in terms of the people that you're going to be able to employ and economically empower. Can you imagine, right? You're working hard because other people are also going to be able to make money. So that's a great thing. At only 300,000 shillings, look out for the link, sign up, and be sure to plug into what each and every single one of those courses, which is branding, creative writing, content creation, digital and social marketing, digital and social media marketing rather, will be on offer, and just get to be able to ask all the questions. I haven't been able to go through all the questions today, but all those questions can be addressed during that time. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It has been so great and really so insightful listening to each and every single one of you. I've learned so much. Lynn, I had you. I heard you loud and clear. You are saying things. You are talking to me. I'm like,
Poking
hey,
you.
just I said, I've understood the message. But I've learned from each and every single one of you, and I wish you all the very best, even as we continue to lead through design. Right? I love that. I love that. Women leading in design. Other than that, have a good rest of your day, and thank you so much for joining us.
Bye.
We can move. Oh, okay.